OceanGate. What really happened with the interesting story of the submarine and the company OceanGate? Do we truly know and have an understanding yet of what went on? That and more up next on the JTC channel. Thank you.
So, OceanGate, the Titan submersible accident. So, admittedly, folks, and that's interesting the way it speaks that they're saying new details on the Titan submersible disaster. Um, I honestly had quite some time be able to explore this and make some key videos on it. Really kind of get into the weeds a bit with this situation, but I've never had the proper setup as far as to be able to do that. So I now have that, and I would just say this: I have been looking very closely at the OceanGate situation for some time, just to really explore what this possibly involves. It says 2 years ago, the story of the Titan submersible captivated and horrified the world. OceanGate, a private company offering deep sea tours for the wreck of the Titanic, made sudden headlines when its submersible disappeared during a routine dive during June of 2023. Days later, authorities confirmed what many had feared. The vessel had allegedly imploded, killing all 5 people who were aboard, including OceanGate CEO Stockton Rush. Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Soliman Dawood. British. Now, this new Netflix documentary has arrived to revisit the tragedy, called Titan, the OceanGate Disaster. It dives into risky decisions that led to the implosion and what it describes as the culture of ambition and ego that lies behind it. The documentary raises key questions about OceanGate's historical legacy, Stockton Rush's leadership at the company, and the structural failures that may emerge when ambition goes unchecked. Read on for a breakdown of what occurred during OceanGate and whether they are still active doing tours. That's one of the first things I checked, is to see, has the OceanGate company changed? Are they still doing tours? It seems like they are still allegedly in business. I don't know if that means that they put the tours officially on hold, but it does seem that they still exist. And so that's interesting. Um, it said the main attraction with the Titan was the 22-foot, 5-person submersible, which was made of carbon fiber and titanium alloy, offering $250,000 per seat when they went on expeditions. So this apparently went on expeditions to not only near the bottom of the sea floor, but also allegedly the remains of the Titanic. It states, he just didn't think that the rules applied to him. Speaking of Stockton Rush, OceanGate CEO. Chief Investigator Captain Jason Newbar describes in the film a very unusual and never before seen incident when it came to OceanGate. The classing standards should have value. Well, I mean, they should have classified, I would say, just speaking from what I understand, most of the layout, for the submersible's instruments, the interior and the exterior should have been classified by something. So I find this interesting. I mean, as far as being classified, it should have been classified whether the structural integrity was stable, whether they were really on a vessel that would run into issues or not later. And anyway, I'd like to listen to it just for a moment here. They say that they have new details on the submersible. So let's see what it says.
Found the sailor wreck of the Titanic. Submersible pilot who lost his job after the sea too dangerous. It's 2023. The world is watching the urgent search for missing miles off Boston. Around the clock search for the Titan submersible. Search to be days later, other drones. Details looking at how the company behind the wheel stop repeatedly ignored safety warnings.
I didn't know what to say, but I was blown away that at this point they were willing to play Russian roulette.
David Lockridge was OceanGate's Director of Marine Operations and the Chief Submersible Pilot. It was fired. It's fired. 2018. Safe for deep dives. Alone. The whole others were recorded.
So very interesting. It states that they allege that they were aware ahead of time that the structural integrity for the hull couldn't possibly withstand that amount of pressure when going down, especially on a repeated voyage. It says that Stockton Rush didn't go down there a couple of times. He actually endeavored to go down there on multiple occasions, which is also interesting, meaning they knew that the hull integrity could possibly be a problem. Do I suggest it was sabotage? It's possible. Perhaps Stockton Rush could have sabotaged it, although it's unlikely that they would do so without, a specific motive. And it states the 335-page report released August 5th stated that the Titan, a 22-foot-long submersible made of carbon fiber alloy, which is extremely, extremely fragile, folks. So don't let anybody, suss you into that. Carbon fiber is one of the most fragile things that would be considered for going, that far. It's not a very good for deep dives or for these kinds of, situations. So the fact that it states they include inadequate design and certification. So someone said this level of classification for a submarine when it came to the Titan. And that it doesn't look good on the part of the company, but it also doesn't look good on the part of the press. What I'm still trying to understand, was sabotage or not, is why like no one, LA Times, not the New York Times, not anyone of real note in the news actually spoke to somebody that might not be. And I simply say that because, it was definitely well known in the public that this is a very weak material they were using, but nobody really seemed to care or intervene. So it states, the 2-year investigation identified multiple contributing factors that led to the tragedy, providing valuable lessons learned to prevent future repeats. The Coast Guard report laid blame for the catastrophic impact squarely on the company OceanGate, which it stated failed to follow any real protocols or fail-safes when it came to testing the structural integrity of their submarine. And that's true to an extent, folks. It states, had Rush, the CEO, survived, he could have faced criminal charges. The investigators concluded he exhibited exceptional negligence that contributed to the deaths of the key 4 individuals. I would say that it's hard to say. He very possibly would have faced criminal charges as far as criminal negligence, because there's something to be said about the OceanGate situation. It's the first time they've had a submersible go down into the water like that, where it was known ahead of time that the crew could potentially be KO'd, that they could potentially be unalived. And it's definitely not a good look, well, for the media. And it's really not a good look for the people who were discussing OceanGate, because, you would think that people would know. It's using carbon fibers. It's had a lot of tests that have not gone, exceptionally well. It did spring a few leaks, they said in the report. You just presume that people would know better. But nowadays, that's not the case. So very interesting. And what do you think? What do you guys feel about this interesting unfolding event as it concerns the OceanGate incident? I always like to hear from you most of all. So sound off in the comments down below and give your thoughts, give your theories. And as always, enjoy. There's more to come. And read up on, if you have not, the new interesting story that's been out there, Jurassic Park, Terror of Site C. You can learn about that, of course, in the details, as well as an interesting report I have uncovered regarding OceanGate. Could they have been known ahead of time as far as when it comes to OceanGate? Is it possible these other interesting institutes, such as NIST, which is a sponsor for DataBank, could they have known ahead of time some of the interesting circumstances surrounding this? And I don't know. I need a lot more time, is what I will say, to be able to really study this. But I'm feeling it. And, my best wishes go out to everyone in the family and those who are related to the crew for OceanGate, and for the Titan in specific. So thank you, and always know there's more to uncover.